The open beta for Fatal Fury has been going on, and it's probably one of the worst beta experiences I've played for a game since the Dragon Ball FighterZ betas way back in the older times of 2017. And just like back then, there are people saying it's just a beta, but that has me worried for the full release in certain aspects, but hopeful in others. But as a beta itself, I'm kinda not digging it. I mentioned how my experience with the Fatal Fury beta harkens back to my time with all of the Dragon Ball FighterZ betas. While Fatal Fury does have rollback and DBFZ didn't, the problems I had somewhat mirror what's happening with Fatal Fury right now. With Dragon Ball FighterZ, the beta tests were held on PlayStation 4 and the Xbox One. So in 2017, I had no choice but to use my Xbox One to even participate in the betas because I was living on campus in college, so I couldn't bring my PC with me. And the overall experience was horrible. I was able to find matches no problem, but I couldn't keep a connection between me and another player. Every other match would disconnect, fail to connect, or once I got into a match, each one played with like 4 frames of delay or even worse. I remember at that time, because most people were playing the PS4 version of the game, they would say it works fine for me, or the worst offender was it's just a beta, it'll probably be fixed when the game comes out. And this was mostly influencers saying this. I know these people don't have any pull at these companies in most cases, but I will say that these companies do watch your content, whether you're big or small, so any feedback they would have given would have had further reach than me. And funny enough, one of the only people to speak out on it was Hell Pockets, a well-known SNK King of Fighters commentator. He also plays the games, of course. Shout out to him. But keep in mind, the betas were happening in September of 2017, and the game was set to release in January 2018. So on full release, was the netcode any better? Drum roll, please. No, it was not. It was pretty bad for up to close to a month, even a little bit after that, before it even became playable. And even then, most matches were still 4 frames of delay. And the reason I bring this up is because of some of the issues I have with the online beta of Fatal Fury. Finding matches has been somewhat of a problem for some people. I've heard people have been waiting in queues for minutes on end to find a match. Some 20 to 30 minutes, which is crazy. In my personal experience, I've only had to wait 45 seconds or maybe a minute to a minute and a half. But regardless, that's still kind of rough waiting time, especially for a fighting game. Not really, you know. And when you're waiting so long, you'll accept almost any match that comes your way. This is what I did for the most part, and I had a tough time with some of the connections. I played around 180 matches, so let's do quick math. Quick fast plus 1, that's quick math. Quicksand Sink Slow for some quick cash. Gwendolyn's Apprentice by Mick Jenkins, inspired by a poem called We Real Cool by Gwendolyn Brooks. You should read it if you have the chance. Anyway, out of 180 or so matches I played, the majority of them were 200 ping or more. Some of the matches were between 100 and 200 ping. I can count on one hand how many sets I had where the ping was less than 100. 5 sets or 10 matches. I get that we're playing people from different regions and countries and stress testing the online itself. I don't expect it to be a completely smooth experience. In fact, even most of my high ping matches felt pretty okay. By the end of the day's sessions, only 3 to 4 matches were completely unplayable. Every game I played with rollback, I've been hit with the rollback hit into death. Don't worry, I'm wired and I do have a good connection. But that's not necessarily my biggest problem right now. It's when rematch happens. When going for a rematch, sometimes my opponent and I will disconnect from each other randomly. It never happens in the game, just in between them. Not only that, let's say I hit rematch and my opponent decides not to. Usually we'll go back to the matchmaking lobby so you can queue again. Not here though. It boots you back to the title screen, but the game doesn't crash. It doesn't even do this when disconnecting or desyncing from the opponent. I get it, it's a beta and we're probably playing an older build, but if I learned anything from past betas of games that release a few months before the official debut, is that it rarely changes, and if they do, it's only minor changes. So people wanting an overhaul of the lobby system probably won't get it before the release, if at all. On the topic of menus and things like that, the UI is kind of iffy. And what I mean by that is, like, when I was looking up moves for Terry, I actually had a hard time actually trying to find a command list at first. And not only that, some of the moves, like Terry has this power charge in this game, right? And it tells you it has follow-ups to the power charge. Yet, for some reason, it doesn't say what buttons you use in order to do the power charge follow-up. So every time I do power charge, I end up guessing which buttons to actually press on. And I don't think that's good at all. It's like purposely leaving out information explanation for no reason. Something else people were bringing up issues with was the lobby system and how you invite your friends. Sending codes to people to enter your room instead of a request seems pretty archaic to me, but I haven't experienced this yet, so I can't speak on it personally. However, I did want to highlight it. That being said, if anyone wants to be a part of a tournament for the beta, let me know in the comment sections and I'll see what I could do. This could help everyone learn a little, since the biggest sin of the beta, in my opinion, is that there is no training mode. I get why there's no training mode. One of the purposes of the beta is to stress test the online functionality, but they could have gave us something to work with to learn the characters they provided us with, like a combo trial or something. The beta has a tutorial mode that teaches you the mechanics of the game. That's cool, but that doesn't mean anything if you don't know how to apply it to the character that you want to play. If you want to play Rock Howard, you are golden for a semblance of practice, as he is the one you use in the tutorial mode. But for someone like me, I'm pretty much lost. For instance, I played Terry for a better part of the beta because I played him in Garo, King of Fighters, and even Street Fighter 6. So I get the concept of how to play Terry. But even then, I'm struggling as I don't know how to apply what I know about Terry to this game with these new mechanics. This leads me to not knowing certain situations like I could. I get what people are saying in that you should learn on the fly, it's a beta, etc, etc. But a beta this close to launch, in my opinion, serves two purposes: stress test the online servers and act as a demo to get people to purchase the full game. If people aren't having fun learning this stuff on the fly and certain things are difficult to beat in the beta, chances are they won't like the game due to that experience. This doesn't go for everyone. It definitely doesn't apply to me. I've been waiting for this game since they announced it, and to speak quite frankly, this game has some amazing gameplay. I like the way that they walk, the way that they talk. I love the way that they dress. That's enough hip-hop references for a video. Anyway, it's fun and lenient enough in which new players can get into it. The way the defensive mechanics are used allow for deeper gameplay. The green stuff, whatever it's called, is pretty deep with counterplay, and with it being tied to the SPG meter bar or whatever, it gives agency to the player and where they want to use it. The combo system reminds me of King of Fighters 13, which I really like, but I can't practice none of the cool stuff in the beta. Even with these gripes with the beta itself, I hope the game flourishes in the future. I really hope they address the valid issues that people have with the game.
Man, honestly, the reason why I'm so critical of this beta is because fighting games, or certain fighting games, don't get as much leeway as others when it comes to making mistakes. People hated Street Fighter 5, but it still garnered a lot of attention and people still played it because of Street Fighter. Tekken 8 is getting a lot of flack now for a lot of things that it added, but it's still thriving and striving, right? I would say Guilty Gear is a part of that crowd now, where it can make mistakes and still be kind of loved. It's not at the same level as Street Fighter and Tekken, but you won't see the franchise stop anytime soon, as far as I know, or as far as I believe, because it messed up. This is our first Fatal Fury game in years, a decade, so I want them to get it right. I want this game to be the best that it can be because I genuinely think it's fun. Also, after talking about all that, it seems like they are aware of the issues with the beta, and they're looking at having another beta test with some fixes and stuff. So it won't be available for this one, but it could be for one in the future.
But just like this beta states, my views right now are not indicative of the final product that will soon be released.
Done yet? Double Replicate! Shibuken! It's over! This is me! No escape! Tackle! Close one! SPG!